Do you think of feeding yourself as self care? Hi, I'm Cora Naylor, certified coactive coach and emotion co practitioner. As empty nesters, we don't always think of feeding ourselves as self care, but we are aware that taking care of ourselves to continue living a healthy life is important. To tell us more about doing that with plant based eating, I've invited Lauren D'Agostino to join us today. Lauren is a private plant based chef, intuitive cooking coach, speaker, and author, helping people fall in love with plant based food. She serves high vibe vegan and gluten free menus infused with doTERRA essential oils and recipes from her new cookbook, Plant Based Cooking with Essential Oils. Her seasonal menus are paired with clean crafted organic and vegan Scout and Cellar wine. And inspired by her work as a professional vegan chef, the global consciousness awakening, and her own transition into living a delicious plant based life, she's guiding others to create lasting habits by incorporating more plants, both on and off the plate. So, welcome, Lauren.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Actually, my husband and I have been eating mostly plant based for almost the last month, and we're really enjoying it.
Good. That's so great. I always love hearing when people are still so new on their journey. I think it's really something to be celebrated. I'm so excited for you. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about why a plant-based diet and lifestyle are important for our health.
Yeah, so a lot of people are familiar with this term plant based. And even I'm finding folks that aren't necessarily identifying their diet as plant based. When you actually look at what they're eating, it is a lot of fruits and vegetables. So um, it's so important to eat more plants because, of course, we get the nutrients and we get the energy from the earth and the sun and the rain. We also get a ton of water when we eat more produce. A lot of the processed and manufactured foods we eat, if you think about it, they're kind of dry and dehydrated, and that certainly does not do our living bodies any service when then we need to go to such effort to digest them. So a lot of the power here in enjoying a plant-based diet and the benefits come with the ease with which they're digested. And for some people, they might have some condition where digesting some foods or some produce items might be more challenging. But everyone's on their own path, and every body is unique. But overall, everyone would benefit from eating more plants. It's helpful for maintaining a glowing complexion, giving you more energy, helping you sleep better, improving digestion, improving elimination, contributes to better heart health, better bone density, more balanced blood sugar. So many different benefits. You can really go crazy enjoying the science. But I would say my most favorite benefit is just that you feel better. You just feel like you're kind of on this elevated wavelength, and it makes life more beautiful. I think, at least that's been my experience. I notice the beauty in things and in people more. I notice it in myself more. Emotionally speaking, I'd say I'm on a higher frequency now, definitely, and it's just because I'm incorporating more of those higher energetic and vibrational foods. So
And what do you think, like, especially for empty nester women, at that time of life, we can be going through a lot of things like hormonal things. Often we're struggling with weight and body image because our bodies are changing because of menopause. Um, how can plant-based eating help with that stuff?
yeah, definitely. So one thing that a lot of people don't understand, or kind of a misconception, is that fruit contains sugar and sugar is bad, right? But actually eating a lot of fruit, eating more fruit, can help to curb those cravings as you go through those different hormonal dips and adjustments. You won't crave sugar, refined sugar that is, or candy or cookies or any of those things. You'll actually start to notice that strawberries and carrots and apples taste really, really sweet. And your body and your microbiome will start to adjust to wanting more of those. And then you won't have those cravings for those other foods anymore. It'll become something you don't even think about. And that might sound a little far-fetched, but it's really, really true. As a kid, was like totally hooked on ice cream, and it's very rare that I eat it now. Just because my palate has changed so much. I can't really stomach it anymore. So that would kind of be, I think, one of my number one tips for sure. And then more fiber. Of course, fiber is the broom that keeps our body clean, specifically our digestive system. And when things back up and build up, it just creates all sorts of challenges and problems in the seat of our immune system, which is, of course, our gut. So more fiber, more fruit would definitely be some recommendations I'd make for those particular people.
And so, what is the difference between, or is there a difference between plant based and vegan? Because I think there's a lot of confusion around those terms.
Yeah, there definitely is. So, plant-based is going to incorporate many different diets, could incorporate, this is kind of in my opinion and my understanding of kind of how I've interacted with different coaches and different people. You could be on a plant-based diet and not be plant exclusive or vegan. So you could be still incorporating some eggs, hopefully locally raised eggs. You could still be incorporating or enjoying some fish or seafood if perhaps you live by the coast and you've got a connection to a really great local and sustainable supplier. Perhaps you live near a cattle farmer who does things organically and really kind of aligned to nature. Perhaps then you're still eating some of those types of things. So plant-based folks will identify really with the health benefits that plants have to offer, where someone who identifies more with a vegan is really passionate about the animal and ethical reasons, maybe more on the environmental impact. They're also, in addition to switching their diet, they're also looking at the types of products that they use on their bodies and in their homes. They're not tested on animals. They're not wearing or consuming, by way of having goods in their home of like any leather. So they're looking more at the lifestyle holistically, I would say, than someone who's plant-based. But also, just because someone is vegan or on a vegan diet or wanting a vegan diet, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're health foods, right? We see vegan labels on so many packaged and processed foods now. You can even get a vegan meal at a fast food place. It's like, okay, that's a really cool option for when we used to be traveling, or when you're out kind of in a rush, right? Or you want to try something new, or for the person who thinks that they can't possibly live without meat. But they're definitely not a health food. They're not a one-for-one swap. They're still processed and manufactured and loaded with tons of additives and things. But the vegan alternatives for meat and eggs and those types of things can be a great bridge food. So vegan doesn't always mean healthy. Plant-based doesn't always mean plant exclusive. That's kind of a long way of explaining that. But that's the difference.
And I know, and the same thing goes for gluten-free. People are like, I'm gluten-free, but then they go to the store and they buy all these products that are processed foods. Yeah, it says gluten-free on there, but there's still a lot of, it's still processed food. So I think trying to stay more clean with the food makes a huge difference.
Exactly. And for the person who is gluten-free, just while we're on that subject, I would encourage them, and really anyone, how can you have the least amount of gluten in your diet? And then if you really are gluten-free, how can you just purchase a product that's, certified gluten-free that still allows you to enjoy that thing, whether it's, toast piled high with veggies or a sandwich or, something like that, but totally on that same line. You're not going and loading your cart with all the gluten-free snack food, junk food, processed food you can find.
Yeah. And what about protein? Because that's the thing that most people are concerned. If I'm eating all these vegetables, am I getting enough protein?
Totally. Yeah. So fruits and vegetables do contain some protein, actually. Mangoes, I think, contain 3 grams of protein. Spinach has got a decent amount of protein. So we actually do get some protein from our produce. And we're not designed to process the amount of protein that we have been led to believe, right? Like my favorite example is when you see those protein cookies that are like 30 grams of protein in one cookie. Like, wow, that's a lot of protein, right?
Yeah.
And what I always tell people is that it really matters what the vehicle is that the protein is delivered to our bodies. So a plant-based source of protein like tofu, tempeh, edamame, peas, nuts and seeds, and then different legumes and lentils and those sorts of things, those deliver a nice gentle package of protein. Imagine like a smart car driving down a highway. It's pretty quiet, light on the road, right? And then imagine the animal-based protein, that cut of steak or the bacon, the pork, the ham, the turkey. That's like an 18-wheeler, right? And those really wear on the roads and they come fast and furious, right? That's kind of the difference in our bodies of how they interpret that protein. And the other thing that I always am curious about, when someone starts to have that conversation about protein, is I always ask them, where are you getting your fiber from? Where are you getting all of those other things? It's not just about the protein. In fact, it's really, as I mentioned before in the fiber, it's about kind of keeping the house clean, right? Imagine if you had, your home and you never swept. Not ever. You kept loading in the things, right? Loading in kind of the protein, all those other things, but you never swept the floors. That's what it's like when you don't have enough fiber in your diet to keep everything moving. You could be really focused on getting all the protein, but you've got to look more holistically at it. And so by eating more plants and just more colorful food, you're able to hit your marks every time, and you don't have to food journal. You don't have to go crazy with understanding all the micro and macronutrients of everything, right? You say, does this food look good for me to eat? Does it taste good? And am I full once I eat this, right? Are you eating slowly enough? Are you focused on enjoying your meal and maybe enjoying it with the people around you? Or are you thumbing through a magazine? Are you watching the news? Are you standing up and trying to have some different conversations? Are you on a call while you're eating, right? Just prioritizing those 15 or 20 minutes can really make a huge difference as your body can understand that you're actually eating and you're actually feeding your system.
Yeah. And I know I'm bad for that too. The mindfulness of it is part of it. But I have to say, we've been doing it for a few weeks, and I have felt more satisfied and not over full, even with eating all this stuff. Maybe part of it is just all the chewing. When you're eating all those crunchy vegetables, there's a lot more chewing involved. But yeah, it's been actually easier than I thought it was going to be.
Good.
So,
that's wonderful.
Yeah. So as we're wrapping up here, I'm sure you have something you can offer people if they want a bit more information, maybe from your website.
Yeah, for sure. So my website is laurendagostino.com. And when you sign on there, you can see what else I'm up to. And then by joining my email list to keep up with what all I'm up to, you'll get the what, why, and how of plant-based. So some more tips on how to actually start thinking about this transition process, starting to get an understanding of where you are and where you want to go, and then putting the map together. That's what I work with folks one-on-one or in a group program for, is how are you actually going to get to your destination, no matter what it is. Maybe you're only going halfway down the road or all the way into vegan with me. Everyone's on their own journey, and it will take however long it takes, right? It's like when you take the highway to get to where you're going, or you decide to walk. You can go at a pace that feels good for you. And so this gift is kind of a good introduction to a little bit more of what we've started to touch on. And then it also comes with a pantry shopping list, so you can start to understand what ingredients you need to keep in your kitchen so that cooking becomes fun and flavorful, really easy in the day-to-day, right? We're not going crazy buying all sorts of processed foods and all of that, but really just getting set up for success.
Yeah. I find that it's so easy. I know what we've been doing is doing a great big sort of chopped salad with all kinds of kale and vegetables in there, and then that's sort of the base, and then we add the nuts and seeds and some kind of grain. And if you have some beans and grains and salad all kind of ready to go, it's amazing how many meals you can make out of that if you do a little bit of prepping on the way.
Totally. Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. So thank you so much for joining us today, Lauren. I hope some people will give it a shot. If you haven't tried plant-based, maybe start with a few different meals, and that's how some people are doing it, meatless Mondays and that kind of thing. You might be pleasantly surprised. If you have any questions, again, reach out to Lauren, go to her website, get her freebie. And if you're an empty nester and you're not part of my empty nester Facebook group yet, just drop a yes down below and we'll get you added into the group. From there, you'll get more support from other women empty nesters as we go through this journey after our kids are grown, and get notified of any other videos we've got coming up. So thank you so much, Lauren, for joining us, and we'll see everybody next time.
Thank you. Bye.